Hello, my name's Daniel King from the Little Angel Theatre, and today I'm going to be reading you an adapted version of Jack and the Beanstalk, originally by Joseph Jacobs. Once upon a time, a widow and her only son Jack lived together in a small cottage in the countryside. Every day, Jack helped his mother chop the wood. Chop! 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 Weed the garden. Yoink, ow. Yoink, ow. And milk their cow. Jack and his mother worked hard, but they were very poor. So one day, Jack's mother said to him, "We have no money to buy food. You must take the cow to market and sell it." The next day, Jack set off for the market, but he hadn't travelled very far before he met a mysterious man who wanted to buy his cow. "I don't have any money," said the man, "but I do have these beans, magical beans. I'll swap these magical beans for your cow." Jack thought long and hard before deciding to accept the mysterious man's offer and exchange the magical beans for their cow. As soon as the deal was done, Jack ran all the way home to tell his mother. When Jack arrived home and showed his mother the magical beans, she was very angry. "You silly boy, what have you done? Giving our cow away for some beans?" she cried. "But they're magical beans, mother," said Jack. But Jack's mother was so angry, she snatched the beans from Jack's hand, threw them out of the window, and sent Jack straight to bed. The next morning, when Jack woke up, he saw an enormous, gigantic beanstalk stretching high up into the sky, all the way to the clouds. Jack and his mother rushed outside and stared up at the beanstalk, towering over them. "I wonder where it goes?" Jack asked quizzically as he began to climb the beanstalk. Jack climbed and climbed and climbed until he finally reached the top of the beanstalk high upon the clouds, where he found a huge castle. Jack carefully crept across the clouds and quietly into the castle. Tiptoe, tiptoe, tiptoe. Now inside the castle, he saw an enormous giant with thick, bushy brown hair. The giant started stomping around, stomp, 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 and sniffing the air. And bellowing aloud, "Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread." Jack was terrified upon hearing this and decided to hide inside a cupboard where he could peek out to watch the giant's movements. Jack watched as the giant searched around for him for quite some time before losing interest, and then instead picked up a bag of shiny coins, which he sat down with at the table. As the giant counted his coins, his head began to nod. 1, 2, 3, and sure enough, 4, 5. He fell asleep with his head upon the table. When Jack heard the giant's loud snoring, he decided to creep out from the cupboard, climb up the table, and grab the huge bag of gold coins. Jack silently dragged the bag of gold coins out of the castle, across the clouds, and back to the beanstalk, where he tossed it all the way down to the ground, where it landed in his mother's garden with a huge thud. Jack climbed back down the beanstalk, where his mother stood waiting for him. Jack's mother was extremely happy. "Well done, Jack. We have plenty of money now and we'll never have to worry again." But Jack remained curious and wanted to climb the beanstalk again to see if the giant had more hidden treasures. The next morning, Jack climbed the beanstalk again, and when he reached the top, he tiptoed across the clouds and into the castle. Tiptoe, tiptoe, tiptoe. Once again, the giant stomped around. Stomp, 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 and sniffed the air. And bellowed at the top of his voice, "Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread." Jack was very nervous about being found, but thought he was rather safe hidden inside the cupboard again. The giant couldn't figure out where the smell was coming from. So instead, he went outside of the castle, but promptly returned with a goose. The giant placed the goose upon the table. "Lay!" shouted the giant, and Jack watched as the goose laid an egg. A golden egg. "Lay again!" roared the giant, and once again the goose laid another golden egg. After a while, the repetition began to make the giant feel very sleepy. The giant let out an enormous yawn, and he fell asleep with his head upon the table once more and began to snore. Jack snatched the goose and one of its eggs from the sleeping giant and raced out of the castle back across the clouds towards the beanstalk. As Jack descended down the beanstalk, he remembered the goose had laid another egg that was still sat on the giant's kitchen table. So he scrambled down as fast as he could, dashed into the cottage, handed his mother the goose and the golden egg, ran back outside and climbed the beanstalk once more. When Jack reached the top, he tiptoed into the giant's castle again. Tiptoe, tiptoe, tiptoe. The giant was still fast asleep. Jack climbed up the table and took the remaining golden egg. As Jack began to retreat, he trod on a loose piece of wood that made the table creak loudly. This noise awoke the giant from his deep slumber. He opened one eye, let out an enormous yawn, and once again bellowed with all his might, "Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread." The angry giant, upon seeing Jack with the golden egg in his grasp, became furious with rage and chased him out of the castle across the clouds back towards the beanstalk. Jack raced down the beanstalk as the giant began to climb down himself. When Jack was near the bottom of the beanstalk, he shouted, "Mother, quick, bring me the axe!" His mother darted into the cottage, retrieved the axe and brought it outside. Jack was almost at the bottom of the beanstalk, so he leapt to the ground, took the axe from his mother's hand and began to chop, 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 until it began to wobble and sway from left to right. Chop, chop, chop. He took one final swing of the axe, chop, and with it, the entire beanstalk crashed to the ground. What became of the giant? No one ever knew, as he was never seen ever again. Jack let out a huge sigh of relief. He hugged his mother and explained what had happened. From this day forward, Jack and his mother were never poor again because of Jack's bravery, the bag of golden coins, and the goose that laid the golden eggs. They had all they ever needed, were content, and never wanted for more again. The end. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.